feel that whatever that I was experiencing from 2019 was just increasing. And then I started seeing these figures. Actually, the first time I saw was right here when I was sitting down watching a game. And it was standing right here behind me. So when I turned and I looked at it, I thought I would have died that day or that night. It was just this black, tall figure right about here. The eyes was red. And I remember looking back in front and turning back again, it was not there.
Is there anyone here? What did you find?
You are listening to Supernatural Confessions.
I got this house in 2019. Moved in, I think, somewhere around March. As soon as I moved in, I just felt uncomfortable. I was just thinking that probably it's old. This house has been deserted for some time, and there's a lot of history between these two blocks. But actually, before I moved in, I heard from the neighbors that a guy just jumped out right outside my house. It was a teenager, Chinese guy. Apparently, he had some dispute with his dad, and then I don't know why, of all places, he chose mine to commit suicide. So I was thinking this is not a good start. And then initially it was just morbid, At nights you feel uncomfortable, you can't sleep. And then you hear voices, then you hear like people chatting away, then it just dies out. Then when you feel like, oh, I just heard it in the living room. Then when you come out of the living room and you try to think that it's coming from outside the corridor, maybe neighbors or someone. And then I'll be sitting down here watching a movie. I'll hear sounds in the kitchen. I'll hear sounds in the toilet. Initially in the room itself, I had a lot of hauntings. Like I can feel someone is like squatting down in the corner. All these things were like really disturbing me. But most of the time I was not here at night because I worked at nights. I just pulled through. And then it became even bad. For all of a sudden things will just go wrong. I will have lights that just won't work anymore. And just bad luck in my life, nothing seems to go right. And then when I go anywhere to work, I get into trouble. And as a matter of fact, since last year, it became worse. Somewhere around October, I was just getting sick for no reasons. I go to the SGH, I get admitted for a few days. Doctors say that, oh yeah, you have some conditions, then we'll see you as an outpatient, so you can go back home. And then I'll go back to the hospital again and get admitted. SGH said that I think you should also go to IMH because you're mentally unstable. I go to IMH shoots me to SGH again. So left, right, center, and just loss of appetite. I couldn't go out. If I go down to buy something, I'll just turn and come up again. Like I had a phobia of going out. At the same time, I had also had fear of staying in the house. Like I couldn't work, I couldn't eat, I couldn't do anything, and I was just at home and I was starting to think, hey, I'm starting to be like a corpse now. So that was starting to worry me.
And you didn't have any of this before?
Never.
So only after you come in here that
all these things, gradually it came. I was thinking this is really something serious. And then I started seeing figures darting about. Just like darting here, someone standing there, something moving into the toilet fast, even in the day. So I felt that this is something wrong. So I started calling my friends, and then a lot of people came here from every religious faith. But it just didn't stop. And everyone who come here, they say that, oh, I think this house is cursed. You better don't stay here anymore, you just leave. Because these entities, they are been here. They don't want to share this land. I think we had one of the members from the group. He came here to help cleanse the house, and he said that whatever is here will not go. This is her place.
And that room behind you, that's the one
that's the one that I was hearing crying and sobbing sometimes. The room was locked all the way. Because this is an interim 3-room flat. That's my bedroom. When I came in, I chose this. But I knew it was empty because I saw it. I know it was empty. When I started hearing the sobbings and laughter, I was always thinking that it's coming from above. But then wee hours at night, that's when I started getting worried. I mean, who is going to be crying at night inside there? So I knew something was wrong. That's when I started bringing in all these mediums and religious preachers and all that. It was the day that this guy called Wong, I can't get his full name, Wong. He came here and we did the cleansing, and that's when he got the medium to get into a trance and communicate with the so-called spirit inside. He said it's a lady and she commands all the spirits in these 2 blocks, in this area itself. So I was like quite flattered. Well, I got a star staying with me. But I thought it would be over because he seemed very confident, this medium. So he said, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this. Do an offering. I mean, he was kind enough to leave some chairs. He left the red one there and asked me to put offerings on top. I did, but it just got worse. The figure starting about was the one that I really couldn't take it because, you're trying to think, am I imagining or is this for real? But when it happens, there's some kind of sensation in your body that makes you realize that no, this is real. I don't know just really how to explain the sensation. People say you got their hair standing at the back, but I didn't get all that, but it was just from within. So that was really disturbing me big time. Okay, after the medium told me to do this, nothing is working out. So what am I going to do? But I was just basically kept alive thanks to the members of the group. They were sending me all this moral support. Some of them sending me provisions, mini fridge, just because they understood that I'm just helpless. There's nothing I could do. Until that one fine day when I saw the old Malay lady naked, covered with sauce in the toilet. That was when I felt that I should do something.
Can you describe the Malay lady?
Very scrawny and frail. I think she's like probably the height of this stand, but she was just like cooped up on the toilet bowl. So when I saw her, I just couldn't move. It was afternoon. I can hear people talking downstairs, cars coming in, motorbikes coming in, but I just couldn't move. And I'm looking at her and I'm thinking, this lady by somehow through the window came into the toilet, or what? Is it a human? Or there were these questions going in my head, but I knew that something was wrong. And that smell, that horrid smell. I closed my eyes, I opened, it was not there, but the smell was still there for a while. I remember coming back here, I light up a cigarette, had a smoke, I sat down, and I thought to myself, listen, you got to do something. And I was a monk before in Thailand and Cambodia. So I sat on my chair, I just meditated. It felt peaceful. And when I opened my eyes, I felt like a voice telling me to get the ring. Now I remembered the ring. So I have to go back to this story. When Wong cleansed the house and after he left, Chongsters called me and say, hey, can we come and see your house? I think it was about 1 or maybe 3 in the morning. I was still awake because I was like trying to get everything, like what the hell was going on. They came up, and while Wong was here, I had this voice telling me to get the ring. But the voice was not like compromising or something that was seeking help. It was more like demanding, and threatening me, like, you should get the ring. Like, get the ring, it's my ring, that kind of thing. So I told them, I told the medium who just came, he's telling me to ignore it. Shall we go and try to see if there's a ring inside? So the boys, the 2 of them, it was not an easy work. Somehow they did it. They broke the door and we went in. One of them found the ring. It was a small, very small lady's ring, but it was just spring with cobwebs and everything. So it is, I don't know how many. And I'm surprised because we did see the room. Me and the management, we did see the room. I mean, just briefly, just looked into the room. And they asked me which one you want. I said, I picked this one. So I was really shocked how the ring came about. But we decided to just leave the ring there because I was afraid if you touch it and then if something happens and if these guys touch it, And they also didn't have the equipment, so they were like also thinking what to do. It was like very impromptu. We closed the door, and I thanked them. They left, and after that there was no mention about the ring until that day. After I see the Malay naked lady, then I went in. Couldn't get in at first. I was thinking that's strange because if you look, there's nothing there. So I try to push, cannot. Try to break, don't pickle in, nothing. Then I had to call a handyman, and then we broke inside. The ring was there, and there was a spider inside the ring. So I just took the ring, tapped the spider, and I just went in front here, buried it. Okay, that's where I buried the ring. The 2 banana trees that you see. When I came back home, everything was fine. I remember I didn't have dinner, I just went to sleep. I was like so tired, I felt so tired. Since then, nothing.
What did you find?
You are listening to Supernatural Confessions.